Hi, I'm Heather. I'm here to talk to you today about a very important issue in American society. This issue that I'm referring to is the overall diet and nutrition of the American society and myths associated with it and reasons why Americans are eating the way that they do. About 2/3 of the American population right now is either overweight or obese. Yet about 50% of Americans claim to be on some sort of a diet. So we're going to go into how that correlates and why, if people are supposed to be limiting unhealthy foods and being on a good diet, people are still overweight. I'm sure a lot of you may have tried some sort of a fad diet in your life before. I myself haven't tried too many because I do not have the willpower to do that, but my mom has tried a lot. She's a big advocate of them. And a lot of them just don't really make sense to me. One that we're going to talk about later in particular is the Atkins diet, where you're encouraged to stay away from carbs as much as possible, but everything else is okay basically. So you can eat heavy cream, as much butter as you want, all the red meat you'd like, but stay away from a slice of bread, any sugar, and to me you just really need to have a balanced diet, and that's the most important thing. So this could be contributing to some of the reasons why Americans are overweight and diets aren't seeming to be effective or beneficial anymore. So Americans really need to start eating for health reasons rather than for weight loss. Healthy nutrition is so much more important than weight loss. Just because you're skinny doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy, and just because you might have a little extra poundage on you, it doesn't make you unhealthy necessarily. And also, what you eat and put into your body is just as important as what you're excluding from your diet. So healthy nutrition is much more important than weight loss, as I stated just a second ago. A 35-year research study proved this. Subjects ate predominantly a plant-based diet. They also had some meat for protein, but it was an overall really healthy diet, practically vegetarian, all organic, and a lot of the subjects went in with coronary artery disease. And after the 35 years, a lot of them had actually reversed coronary artery disease, and they had increased blood flow and decreased inflammation. So the statistics of the study were a sign that healthy diet can actually reverse coronary artery disease, and it can improve risk factors for cardiovascular disease, which is amazing because cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death. So if we can reverse that by our diet, then I encourage everybody to do that. The same study also found that participants who had changed their diet for the better, it helped activate genes within their body that prevented certain diseases. And participants who hadn't changed their diet, it actually activated genes that promoted diseases. So these statistics are a sign that a healthy diet can actually prevent disease, and an unhealthy diet can promote disease. As I stated earlier, another factor is what you eat and put into your body is just as important as what you're excluding from your diet. I think the greatest example of this is sugar. Americans eat sugar without even knowing it a lot of the time. Every soda that you drink has so much sugar in it, and they don't know a lot of the times that sugar causes spikes in insulin. And spikes in insulin have been correlated with type 2 diabetes and the promotion of fat gain. So sugar causes a spike in insulin, which is correlated with increased risk of type 2 diabetes and fat gain. In another study, subjects were placed onto the Atkins diet, and the subjects that were placed onto the Atkins diet versus the control group, their level of a protein called the C-reactive protein more than doubled, and they had increased risk in a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol is known to be the stress hormone. It has a real negative connotation, and it's been known to lead to abdominal fat mostly and overall body fat. But both of these two things together, the C-reactive protein and the cortisol, helped increase risk of cardiovascular and chronic diseases. And it shows that the statistics show that elevated levels of C-reactive protein and cortisol hormones while on the Atkins diet are an increased risk of cardiovascular disease and chronic disease. One more study for you. A nurse's health study showed that an increased risk of red meat, so they had their subjects eat a lot more red meat than they usually would, and these subjects had a much increased risk of premature death, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and type 2 diabetes mellitus. So this one showed that consumption of red meat is correlated with premature death, increased risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer, and type 2 diabetes mellitus, which basically all those factors make up all of the leading causes of death, which is so scary. So healthy nutrition is much more important than weight loss. What you eat is just as important as what you exclude, and Americans really need to focus on eating for health rather than for weight loss. So in closing, I ask you, what good choices are you going to make today? What healthy choices will you make? How will you incorporate more fruits and vegetables into your diet rather than worrying about calories? And in turn, you will lose weight long term and just be more healthy overall. Thank you so much for your time.